Well, joining me now live for the latest on the situation is CNN national correspondent Whitney Wild. Whitney, thank you so much for joining us today. Despite Iran's retaliation strike on the US airbase in Iraq, many are describing this as a win for Donald Trump. What has been the reaction so far?
Well, the reaction is mixed, and it's largely down party lines. Democrats coming out of a briefing just minutes ago saying that they were frustrated by the administration. They still are very skeptical of the administration's reaction to this ongoing conflict with Iran over the past few days. However, Republicans largely praising the president throughout this entire ordeal, especially following his remarks today.
And the president has announced new sanctions. What are some of the sanctions that have been imposed on Iran?
Well, one of the questions we're waiting to find out is what the details are of these sanctions. So that's a question that is still hanging in the balance. So we're waiting to hear any more details there.
In the televised address to the nation, the president did declare that he does not want war with Iran. How big of a test is this of his leadership?
This is absolutely the greatest test of his presidency. He seems to be, as we as a nation seem to be, on the precipice of a real crisis with Iran. The question going into these remarks is whether or not he would de-escalate those tensions, and it seems that he was able to do so. So this certainly presents his biggest challenge of his presidency so far.
Donald Trump says that Iran appears to be standing down, but I guess the question really remains here, is Iran finished, and at what point does Donald Trump escalate his own response?
That remains an open-ended question as well. The president reiterated throughout the speech, which, to be fair, touched on several different themes. In some moments, he said that Iran had enormous potential, while at the same time condemning past behavior. He reiterated at the very start of his remarks that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. He admonished the nuclear agreement from the past administration, called on allies to take stronger positions toward Iran, while also urging them to leave the Iranian nuclear agreement. So there is this question now about what is going to happen next. What are the real material impacts of this speech? So far, it seems that the real impact was simply a de-escalation.
What do you make overall of his televised address? It did appear that he stuck to a message throughout the whole thing, was very calm about the situation, but while also trying to get the point across.
Absolutely. So he concluded his remarks by saying that, again, Iran has enormous potential and that the U.S. is committed to peace moving forward. He even said, speaking directly to the Iranian people, that they have a great future and that the U.S. is committed to a relationship, a peaceful relationship for all of those who want it. So, again, reaction here in the U.S., depending on party affiliations, has been mixed. Again, some Republicans certainly praising his speech, while others questioning on a grander scale the administration's positions and reasons for why it even got to this point to begin with. Some Democrats even saying you can't truly de-escalate in good faith a situation that you yourself heightened. So there are these two competing theories following his remarks about whether or not this was ultimately a net positive or ultimately a net negative. Back to you.
Well, the world is certainly watching. CNN national correspondent Whitney Wild, thank you so much for the update.